Hey everybody, welcome to today's lesson. It's Sway for the ukulele. Let's get started. Hello everybody! I hope you are excited to learn this Latin classic, Rebecca Kilgore's version a lot. Hi everybody, Lyle Ritz is the jazz ukulele legend. If you all don't know Lyle, he's definitely the authority. He was the authority. He actually lived in Portland too for the remaining years of his life. But he was a big session player down in LA too. Basically not doing too much theory, but there definitely is some theory. And I think that one of the concepts that I'm stressing a lot, I'll say this chord, as you already know. Is that C6 or is that A minor 7? So, you know, if you're wondering about that, I think that's important to know. These relationships, these are often called substitutions, even though they're really just the same four notes inverted. Offering this live class more songs, different songs from this, because I have a pretty good list, and I'm trying to go about it systematically and progressively, but I'm also kind of hitting some different keys and stuff too. So next week will be summertime, just so you know. But next term's going to be Girl from Ipanema, Ain't Misbehavin', just a lot of great jazz standards. I mean, even with the first batch of songs, I use this shape quite a bit, G6. And then later on, when you look at a few of my other arrangements or scores, you'll see that as E minor 7. You know, it's the same four notes. So again, it's just important to know those relative major and relative minor, that every major 6 chord can be equivalent to a minor 7 chord, a minor third below. That equals 3 frets for us. G to E. I always say go down 3 to make it minor. Similarly, and we're going to look at this with sway, we're presented with another type of an issue. You see this chord that has a circle line through it. They're like, what is that? And I'm saying, that's a half diminished chord, also known as a minor 7 flat 5 chord. So when hopefully you all have that lead sheet for sway open. I'm not going to load it up right now, but the first chord says E circle line through it. And I'm kind of curious on how many of you are like, what is that? I'm going to tell you right now, it's shorthand. It's a symbol for minor 7 flatted 5. And formula-wise, is exactly what it says. It's a minor 7 chord, but you flat the 5th. So E minor 7 flat 5 is equivalent to G minor 6. So that's the other very important enharmonic substitution, that it's actually the same 4 notes. E minor 7 flat, this is where I usually get out my dry erase board or whatever, but E minor 7 flat 5, when you spell it, is E, G, B flat, D. But then when you look at those same 4 notes, you could say, again, assuming you knew your theory formulas, you could say, oh, that's just G minor with the 6th degree, G, B flat, D, E. And again, that's supposed to make life easier. Because again, a lot of people may not know, what do I do? Or how do I play that chord? But then I'll say, I'm going to show it to you. That's why actually I didn't want to pass out the basic scores or anything, because I want to walk you through these chords. They're really actually quite easy, at least the easy version. And the versions that I use, I didn't go crazy on these ones. Here's G minor. If you all want to go ahead and do this exercise. Okay, so you got to start with G minor. Everybody know G minor? Be honest. And I'm going to say, if you say no, I'm going to say start with G major first. That's a good place to begin. And then you take this note, the happy note, the 3rd degree, and you flat it. Now you have G minor. Okay, so again, that's a theory thing that I think is very important to know, major and minor. And from there, I want to show you how to get the 6 chords, the 7th chords, and all that stuff. But here's G minor. Here's G major. Okay? And I'm going to do this. I'm going to spend 5 minutes on this G shape with you all. Here's G major. Take this note here. That that's the octave, G, G, and lower it 1/2 step to the 7th degree. Now you're gonna have this shape. You can use all 3 fingers or just bar or Leijing. So this is G, G major 7. Now if we lower the same note, one more, that's G7 or dominant 7. But on a chart, it would just say G7. So G7, right? I know, hands up, you all know this song, or this chord. G major, G major 7. And again, we often associate these major 7s as being jazzy. But see how easy that was to create a major 7 chord? You just take your octave, your 8, you find your, what root you're on, G in this case, and you lower it a 1/2 step, and that's G major 7. If you lower it one more, it becomes a dominant 7. And if you lower it one more, it becomes G6. So again, when I started you off with those songs, I Can't Give You Anything But Love, Baby, whatever the other song was, in the key of G, that's the choice chord, G6. Not G, but G6. It's nice and old school, very jazzy. And yes, theoretically, that's also equivalent to E minor 7. Again, I feel like that's important to know. Well, let me show you what to do with the minor chords. And here's G major. I'm going to start with G major again. And we could do this everywhere on the fretboard. G, G, G. We could do the same exercise. G, G major 7, G dominant 7, G6. We just go through this little routine. Again, don't worry about that until you get all your basic chords down here, because then it's all movable. Now we're going to take this G chord and make it minor. We flat the 3rd, which is this B to a B flat. Okay, and that made it minor. So again, there's some formulas here. If you're like, I don't understand major to minor, I basically just say flat your 3rd. That's how most people learn. 1, 3, 5. Minor's 1 flat 3, 5. So now we have G minor. But check out this cool little routine. Take that 8 again and lower it a 1/2 step. Now we have G minor, major 7. I know it's kind of a striking dissonant chord. And then G minor 7 if we go one more. And yes, that can have another name, but let's not go there. Then if you move it down one more, that's G minor 6. Yes, Pete, I'll send you the formulas for sure. And you may consider joining the theory class. G minor, check this out. This is a cliche. It sounds like Blue Skies, many songs. Blue skies smiling at me. Many songs kind of does that cliche walk down. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine. Same walk down. But anyways, knowing your formulas, that's what it's all about. If you're going to go on beyond just like memorizing chords, if you want to pursue more of the jazz stuff, I'm going to say, learn your formulas. Make sure that you can know your basic major chords, and then do the same thing on D. And say, oh, here's D. Here's D major 7. Here's D7. I mean, you have limitations because you can't go there. But here's minor. Here's minor major 7. Here's minor 7. Then minor 6. I would do like that. Anyways, again, you get a little bit stuck down here with open strings. You're kind of limited. But once you move it around, the fingerings are, I'll say, movable. Anyways, that's the power of knowing your theory. So going back to this song now, E half diminished, or E minor 7 flat 5, I'm just going to tell you right now, is equivalent to G minor 6. Isn't that G minor 6? Absolutely. So again, by knowing this little trick, I call it the 3 fret trick. It's always 3 frets. You just got to know which direction. Do I go up or down? 3 frets is equivalent to half steps. If you were to tell the trick to a piano player, you say, 3 half steps. That's the distance from the relative. And minor 7 flat 5 is darker. I say it's, because usually I say this trick with major to minor. I say major's happy, major's above, and then minor's sad, minor's below. So G to E, happy to sad. But in this case, we're going to go another level of sad. We're going to go from G minor 6 minor to minor E minor 7 flat 5. Okay, same 4 notes. So in that first chord, E minor 7 flat 5, which is, again, you can think of it as G minor 6. And if you're wondering, for application, this is huge for me as an improviser, because when I see E minor 7 flat 5, I'm translating to, ooh, I could play all my G minor licks. I don't have to think twice about, what I'm playing. I can just play G minor, because I know G minor everywhere, and it's actually easier to think G minor for me, and probably for most players, because you learn major and minor first. G minor everywhere on the fretboard, and then you just add the 6th degree on, and you have E half diminished, or E minor 7 flat 5. I'm fingering, this is why I'm not going to do the screen share for a sec. E minor 7 flat 5. And again, check it out. Here's G minor, and I'm thinking of it as G minor 6. G minor major 7, G minor 7, G minor 6. These are all great exercises. To the A7. When marimba rhythms start to play, hold me close. And then D minor. Make me sway. Myself. So, did you guys get it? And I just chose a triad there for the D minor. I didn't choose D minor 7 or D minor 6, even though I do like the minor 6 a lot. But I wanted to keep it fairly easy. So again, and then D minor. And then this is how easy the song is. It just repeats the same thing. Make me thrill as only you know how. Sway me smooth. 6. Who's never played this chord before? It's okay if you haven't. And then the A7. Another substitute would be B flat. But let's not go there, because this is definitely the standard way. It's in the progression, by the way, we're in the key of D minor. It's a 2-5-1. 2-5-1. If you're on D, the 2 is E, the 5 is A, and D is the 1. But we're in a minor key. So that's why it's E half diminished. E minor 7 flat 5. And then the A is the dominant, the 5. And then the D minor is the 1. Now, and that's just a quick analysis, but that's how easy the progression is. And hopefully you can move it to any key and just understand. This is why I like to think formulas to be able to move it to any key. If you listen to that Becky Kilgore version, she's in the key of G minor. So then if I was playing, I'd be thinking, oh, the 2 of G is A. I would do A minor 7 flat 5. The 5 is D7, and then G minor. And then I could play along that quickly by knowing the theory. So I'm really pumping the theory. As a working musician, it's if you don't, in this style, if you don't know your theory, then it's hard to adapt to the different playing situations unless you have perfect pitch or have your iReal Pro book. But it really does help. So, and then the B section here, other dancers may be on the floor. It does a classic modulation. Now it modulates to the relative major, because we're in D minor, the relative major. I know I'm talking a lot of theory today. But it's this 3 fret trick again. The relative major of D minor, you go up 3, it's F major. So now it does the same type of movement. Now it goes 5 to the 1. You don't have to do the 2, but just the 5. C7. Okay. And that's the B section.